All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, Ship It Nation YouTube station? Back 10 games Tuesday. Massive contest over on DraftKings. Crazy pricing over on FanDuel for y'all that still play over there. Man, what a slate we have at hand here. Gyiraszin, excited to break it down and talk through it. We got a lot of good options all across the board in general. Pitching, hitting. It's a pretty spread out slate. I don't think there's going to be too condensed ownership one way or the other. So if you like something, go in on it, because I don't see really anything that's too off the wall here on this slate, but should be a fun one. What's going on, man? Happy Tuesday. How are you, brother?
Hey, can't complain. We're getting into summertime. Man, I will complain. Is it me or is it StreamYard? It seems like we skipping all around. We've been getting stuck and shit on here recent times, and I'm hardwired in, and I know it ain't me, but either way, we'll roll through this thing here. But if we get stuck, maybe I should get a drink. I know the other day I was like stuck, and I had me a lucky one perched up to my house, thinking, I could have finished it by now. But either way, yeah, like you said, the slate's kind of different. We got really don't seem like to have any of the mega chalk anywhere we got to seem to worry about. And as you mentioned, the pricing with pitching is so much different. I mean, Soriano's 11-3 on FanDuel. He's literally 800 higher than Ohtani, which is kind of funny. 1,100 higher than DeGrom. But Davis Martin, he's like 9,600 on FanDuel. It's just crazy. You look at the differences of the pitching, the pricing. But we'll look at some DK today. I know everybody mostly plays DK, but let's dive into it. I mean, 10 games on Tuesday. I'll tell you what, on FanDuel, man, they got a big ass tournament over there today. $150, $100K up on top. So usually Tuesdays and Fridays seem to be the good tournament days, but definitely today over there on FanDuel, they got a good one. So hopefully somebody with the ship it takes it down today. That'd be nice.
Yeah, good contest all across the board. So should be a fun one here. We got our guy Stoner getting in here nice and early. A little bong rip season. Ricky Rose wins a lot. Michael W. Jason Turno. Taco Todd, Philly fan. I'm good luck in the 1500 here. I know he's got a couple tickets. Chris, Adam, Math, Gang Green, Lone Wolf, Axtron, everybody in the building. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. Avery tuning in. What's up, Avery? Brock is as well. Everyone tuning in here. Gyiraszin ready to talk this 10-game slate. I'm going to go ahead and pull our partner SaberSim up on the screen. Hopefully nothing's lagging here and this and that. It's definitely not me either. I got the best internet package you can get and hardwired in, and I'm about 10 steps, not even 10 steps away from the router behind me. So StreamYard, get your shit together. Hopefully we can make it through here with no lag. And I know Matt's picture yesterday was froze pretty much the entire duration of the show, but the voice and volume and everything like that should be all right there. 10K and above, or 8K and above, excuse me. Pretty loaded pitching range. I definitely prioritize spending up at pitching here tonight for both arms. There is some value arms that we can play, but realistically, it's spend up pitcher over spend up hitting for me on this slate on DraftKings. 8K and above, you got Peyton Toll now coming off a really good start. Gets the matchup there against the Blue Jays, who have been scuffling at the plate there. All the way up to Shohei Ohtani at 10-5 on DraftKings. Ohtani, most expensive. I think Dave Roberts said he's likely only going to pitch tonight, or at least that was the plan. They're going to take a look at that every day, every fifth day, right, when he's in the rotation to be a pitcher only, which, hey, maybe he's a little more focused on pitcher. He can rest more in between innings, things like that. So 10-5. Highest price guy, going to get ownership. I mean, realistically, ownership's going to fairly spread. I mean, your cash game pairing up here is probably going to be Jacob deGrom and Jose Soriano. Soriano definitely probably comes in as the highest owned pitcher on the slate when it's all said and done, at least projections wise would say that. Dry Run gave me about 70% of Soriano, about 65% DeGrom. So naturally, projections wise, that's kind of the pairing that people want to go to. But there's a lot of good arms up here. What do you see 8K and above?
Yeah, I mean, over on DK, just kind of looking at the pricing, but we could start with Tole. You mentioned, had 11 Ks against the Yankees. I mean, that's pretty good. He is a highly touted prospect. I don't mind him, but, I just kind of look over at these bats here that Toronto's going to be throwing out, and they really don't have too many guys, I feel like, have too many strikeouts against lefties. I mean, you got Schneider, he's at 28%, but I mean, we're looking at maybe two guys in the 20s. Everybody else, I mean, Guerrero's 11%, Ernie's at 9%. I mean, 17% for Straw. I mean, these guys just don't strike out very much. I mean, I just don't trust the rookie enough at this point here to pay up for him. I think maybe if you wanted to pivot your MMEing, I'd probably leave him in my pool, I guess. I mean, I don't mind him. On FanDuel, he's priced up a little higher, actually. He's pretty high up on FanDuel. But, and then you move on up, Joe Ryan. I'm not really a fan of Joe Ryan here. And I just think there's too many other good spots here that you could look at. I think Bubic is interesting. I think he's a guy definitely leaving my pool. We know he's got some strikeout ability. I think he's got the ceiling to keep up with some of the top guys here today. But I mean, how many times out of 5 or so are we going to get it? Once, maybe twice? I just feel like, you're not always going to get that consistent strikeouts. And then if you do, peel it back a little bit and you look at, what we're looking at with some of these A's hitters, you got Kurtz, who strikes out a little bit here, which we like. Langoliers is a little bit over the average. Soderstrom 26%. Thomas, Muncy, Geloff at the bottom. So there's some strikeouts to be had here. They're at 30% strikeout rate as a team against lefties. So Bubic could definitely get the job done. I think he's definitely an interesting pivot. I think he's priced at the right price. If you want to use one of these higher price guys, I think Bubic would be in play for me. We just don't like the park right either. That's something too that we're not been really a fan of as time has been going on out there in Sacramento. Now Soriano is interesting over here on FanDuel. I mean, I think DK on FanDuel, he's like 11-3. Like I said, he's the highest priced pitcher. I mean, this guy's been pitching very well, obviously out the gate. I mean, he gets a White Sox team that's actually been looking pretty good. Murakami, who the hell is this guy? I mean, I was telling Nades before the show started, was just looking at some MLB OPS leaders. And shit, you got 3 rookies in the top 11 of all of OPS. You got Sal Stewart, Murakami, and McGonigal. So it's interesting. But Soriano, for me, with his ground ball lean and everything else, White Sox do have some strikeouts in there. Soriano would probably be my SP1 over here on DK. Definitely like some Soriano. I think Gilbert's interesting too at his price. I think I like him a little more on FanDuel, but I think Gilbert's price here is the 5th ranked pitcher. I mean, I like Gilbert against the Minnesota team, even though they've been hitting recent times here, them pesky Twins. But I know Nades was kicking himself a little bit. He was kind of wishing he'd have left some of his Twins in yesterday, but pre-show we were talking a little bit. So, DeGrom against the Yankees. The Yankees got some strikeouts there. I mean, is DeGrom, back to a guy where we feel like, he's got the Yankees. We don't like the matchup. But then, you're looking at what we're looking at here. We know DeGrom's definitely got some strikeouts. We're looking at a game total of 7.5 with one of the best hitting teams of baseball. So we're obviously thinking Vegas doesn't like too many runs to be scored here. But, I mean, the bottom half of this lineup's got all kinds of Ks for us with Jazz, Dominguez, Wells, McMahon, Calabrero. I mean, these guys are all over 24%. Judge is 25%. I mean, Bellinger and Rice are really the only couple guys here that really haven't been striking out. So I think DeGrom is definitely interesting. Schlitter, I think at his price on DK, I think I'd probably stay away from. I mean, Seager and Nimmo would be about the only 2 bats over there that I'd pretty much be concerned about. And then you got Ohtani. I mean, we got to maybe step back and realize what kind of greatness I think we may be watching here. I mean, this dude going to win the damn Cy Young too? And is he going to hit 50 some bombs? What the hell is this shit? Where'd they create this guy from? Nintendo? Like, this ain't even right, man, to be truthful. Dude's given up one damn run so far this year. I mean, he's 6 innings on FanDuel. He's pretty much a lock for, for you to get a quality start, which I like. But, man, Nades, I think we got a lot of option here, to be honest. I think I would rather live up here in the high end here today in the pitching. I just some of these guys here on the bottom half really don't tickle it for me. But, I think there's all kinds of options. And I think if you have to rank them without salary, obviously I'd probably go Ohtani, DeGrom, but not with the salary involved. Soriano's been so good. I got to pump him up against over those other guys. And, I think I'm going to probably go Soriano, and then I'd probably say Ohtani, and then I'd probably, at that point, I think it's all in a bunch. So you could throw maybe 4 or 5 guys in that mode. But I think I'd keep my pitching pool to like maybe 5 or 6 guys here tonight, and that's really about as far as I'd go. But, man, there's some decent options here today. And I always like to think how many landmines are there that can win the slate here that I can't avoid, right? So I think there's some guys here today with some decent upside that we have on the slate where I feel like 1 or 2 of them are going to probably have some good games. And, you're going to have them. It was kind of like yesterday, Ranger Suarez. Nobody was even talking about old Ranger Suarez. Look how good he is. He's kind of like a Soriano today, ground ball lean. He doesn't have the best matchup there for strikeouts. He does have, it's definitely an upside one, but it's not his Angels. I wish he could pitch against his own damn team. He'd probably be even better, Nate. But either way, I think pitching is interesting today. I think that's why we're not going to have too much chalky. There isn't really anything, either bats nor pitching, that's dragging you to certain thing to leave you a certain amount of salary. I think it's going to be all spread out tonight. So, hey, play who you like. And I think we're going to sit back and have some fun. But yeah, I think pitching's pretty good today.
Yeah, I agree with you. So I'll start with my SP1, Jose Soriano, going to be probably everyone's SP1. Just underpriced for the current form, how he's been. He added a strikeout pitch, which was what he was missing, right? We know he's a terrible ground baller. We know he's got talent, but I think it's a sweeper, right? That he added. And that's his punch-out pitch. And you see his strikeout numbers finally coming way up from what they were last season. So I love Soriano. The White Sox have some guys that can hit there, but again, favorable hitting or favorable pitching conditions there in Chicago. I'm in on Soriano. I like him a ton. I like Cam Schlittler more than you do. Great place to pitch out there. I think he gets up for this matchup with Jacob deGrom on the other side. So I like Schlittler a lot at 9,500. Not too worried there in general with the Texas bats or that game in general there. Jacob deGrom I like a lot too. There's a lot of strikeouts there. I get it. It's the Yankees. It's a high-powered offense. Aaron Judge is a freak. Ben Rice is on a tear. But it's still Jacob deGrom. You look at this dude over the last month. deGrom has just been absolutely nails. 34% K rate, 41.2% to the right side. Yeah, he gives up some fly balls there, and yeah, the Yankees hit some fly balls. But again, we're chasing strikeouts, and that's what we want, right, in DFS. So deGrom, 7.5 K prop, juice the under, but still, I'm in on deGrom. I like him. The guy that I think gets lost a little bit here in the shuffle is Logan Gilbert. The Twins did the job last night, but this is a much different pitcher, right? Logan Gilbert's much better than Luis Castillo. I talked about it big time on the show yesterday. Castillo's been declining for a couple years in a row now. Just not the same pitcher. Gilbert's not been great. It is outside of Seattle, which obviously we love to roster pitchers in Seattle. But, Gilbert's been good. 24% K rate, which isn't great. However, you look at this Twins lineup, there's strikeouts in here. Buxton strikes out a lot. Cody Clemens strikes out a ton. Royce Lewis back in there strikes out a lot. So I do think Gilbert's pretty interesting just because I don't think many people click that. And he's a good pitcher. So I like Gilbert there. Bubic is an upside guy. Don't really love it out there in Sacramento in that ballpark there, especially with Joe Ryan, $200 less. This is a spot where I think you can play both sides of Joe Ryan and you can play some Seattle hitters. You look at the Seattle lineup against right-handed pitching on the season, even with all those lefties that they're going to throw at Joe Ryan. They still strike out at 25% clip. The books aren't – Vegas isn't scared. They hung a 5.5 K prop on Joe Ryan, and it's juiced to the over, right? So I think Joe Ryan's fairly interesting as well at 8,200. Nobody's going to really play him much. Peyton Tolle's hard for me to chase, right? I just look at it. I think he's solid, but he got a big price bump. And I mean, yeah, Toronto's not been great, but like you said, I mean, Toronto has like a 7 or like a 12% K rate, I think, to left-handed pitching on the current year. 12.9, excuse me, against left-handed pitching. Peyton Tolle's looked really, really good. Obviously, struck out a ton of Yankees there. Could he do it again? Yes. But this Blue Jays team, while they haven't been a great offense, is a contact-heavy team. The thing I will say, though, is Tolle is 8,100. He's going to be sub 10% owned on a slate where we just saw Ranger Suarez yesterday light the same exact matchup up. So overall, I think he's solid. 8,100 is good. I say all that to say I love this top range. Majority of my teams are going to be anchored with 2 of these arms above 8K because I think you could play all of these guys, to be honest, up here. Didn't even hit on Ohtani. Ohtani's great. 10-5 with ownership, and the Marlins are a better offense in general. They're pesky. I do have some slight concern with Ohtani, but again, he's arguably some of the highest ceiling on the slate in general. His K props there, his out props there in general. I mean, 6.5 heavy juice the over there, which would be the best on the slate when you take a look at everything. So loaded pitching tier up in the top. I'm going to have exposure to probably a majority of these guys, maybe not so much on Bubic there, just with the other good arms and the prices in the range. But ideally, you're going to want 2 of these guys up in the top for at least majority of your portfolio of teams here tonight. That's the way I'm approaching it. But I think there is some arms you can play down below 8K. Trey Savage is back in our lives. He does have a pitch count concern there, but this dude is a very, very electric arm, huge strikeout arm, was very, very pivotal for the Blue Jays in that World Series run they made last year. He is coming off a shoulder surgery there, but again, huge strikeout stuff. I think he's fine. He should get right around 80 pitches, 80 to 85. I think he went like 71 in his last rehab start. And then they pulled him after like 60-something last time. But again, if he can cruise, it is a good strikeout matchup. He is a strikeout arm. His K-prop looks good. Nobody's going to play him. So I think he's fairly interesting at 7,800 if going down here because you're chasing strikeouts, right, when you want pitchers on DraftKings for sure, right? The strikeouts is everything. He's a strikeout arm. I think he can play. And then the other guy down here I have some interest in is Davis Martin. 7,300. The Angels strike out a lot. It's good play. It's pretty solid pitching weather there in Chicago tonight. And he's a fairly solid pitcher. So at 7,300, I think he can do enough if the big bats and some of these top arms don't go absolutely nuclear. And I think he's in play. But outside of that, I don't really like a lot down here. What do you see down below 8K?
Yeah, below 8K, as you mentioned, there isn't really much I like. Savage, I need to see it a little bit more. I mean, yeah, he was great in the playoffs last year. I think I looked it up, and the dude had like 30-some 5% strikeout rate or something like that.
Yeah,
27 innings. Yeah, I mean, 36%. I mean, the dude was definitely integral in them winning the title. But, for me, Mize is somebody I'd probably leave in my pool. I don't really love it. He's 7,700. Cabrera, I mean, a lot of times he's a guy at the bottom half you might want to leave in today. I just kind of leave him off. I mean, Davis Martin for me is probably the only guy I really like down here where I'd feel comfortable playing. I mean, Martin's been actually really good so far this year. Last year we weren't really, high on him as far as strikeouts. He was at 19% against righties. This year, so far this year, he's at 26%. He's not walking anybody. 2% walk rate to righties. 7% walk rate to lefties. So we don't have to worry about that. But, man, you look over at these Angels, and especially these righties against right-handed pitching. I mean, there is a ton of strikeouts to be had. Neto, 26, Trout, 29, Makata, 26, Soler, 31, Adele, 26, Lowe, 24. I mean, Rivera, if this catcher's in, 33. I mean, they only got 2 guys that are below 20% for strikeouts. So, Martin can definitely get the job done here. I mean, his last 3 out of 4 games He's been over 22 points. So I think Martin for me would be a guy that I think he's underpriced. I mean, FanDuel loves them some Martin today too, by the way. You go over there and look, I think Martin's like the 5th highest priced pitcher on the whole damn slate over there. He's like 9,800. It's like insane. Like, I mean, I don't know what algorithms each of them use, but one of them was on crack this morning when one of the two sites, Nades, because I'm going to roll away. It was the FanDuel guys, but still, either way. But Davis Martin for me is a guy that I would probably even at the price today leave up in my – I'd put him up there with the top guys. I have him maybe a little bit tier below those top guys we spoke about. I think, there's a couple guys up there that really stand out. But I think Martin for me is the guy that I really like. Nobody else really down here is anybody I even would think about playing on this slate unless I just misclicked it and didn't have – my eyeballs working right, or maybe there was smoke blown in my eyes or something. AIDS made me click somebody else's name down here. But yeah, no reason for me to even get cute about it. I think, like I said, maybe 5 or 6 pitchers. Only guy below 8K that I'd really even feel good about is Davis Martin, just because, man, he could strike out the side a couple times against these Angels. So definitely he's in play for me.
Yeah, Davis Martin's definitely my favorite value pitcher. He's one of my top pitchers on the slate, just given everything, the price, the ownership, the matchup, the strikeout potential, everything there. So I'm with you there. I do have a little bit more interest in Savage just in tournaments, right? I don't think many people click that name, 7,800. Yeah, his outs prop isn't great, right? Because of the pitch count concerns there. I like the strikeout matchup and the strikeout arm that he is pitching at home there in Rogers Center Dome. After the World Series runner-up, right? I think he gets up for this spot here, coming back into the bigs, and I wouldn't be shocked, even in 80 pitches, to see this dude get 7-8 strikeouts. I mean, that's the type of arm he is. You saw it last year in the playoffs, and on a guy who I think has strikeout potential, 5.5 K prop, juice the over. Like I said, I think he's fairly interesting in tournaments. Outside of Savage and Martin, I'm not really getting to anyone down there. So these 9 pitchers are kind of where I'm running about, or right around for my pitcher pool in general. Gonna probably make a couple more cuts leading up, probably Bubic, but in general, I think Joe Ryan's really interesting. Davis Martin, I like a ton. Soriano, Schlittler, Gilbert are kind of my main guys that I'm focused on when considering ownership, upside, everything like that. What's your kind of 5 guys that you're really focused on here, Gyiraszin?
Yeah, it's just so hard for my brain because I got most of my action. Well, all my action today is over on FanDuel, so my brain's not, it's a little different because it's hard for me to even
go ahead and give your FanDuel. Give your FanDuel ranks too. Just give your FanDuel rankings. I gave my DK, and they can piece it together that way.
Yeah, I mean, over on FanDuel for me, Gilbert actually is one of my favorites, and then I probably would go Ohtani, Soriano, and Schlittler. I think those guys would be the rankings I'd have them. Bubik's also interesting. I don't have any interest in Davis Martin on FanDuel as much as I would on DK just because of the price. Like I said, he's like the 5th highest price pitcher over there. But I mean, if you can jam in Ohtani, I think that's the way to go. Schlittler, Soriano. I think all 3 of those guys you could look at. But for Gilbert, with the price discount I get over there, he's pretty cheap over on FanDuel. That's pretty much where I'm going to live. And see, like over on FanDuel, DraftKings, Gilbert probably won't be as owned as highly as, Davis Martin will be. I mean, there's going to be some ownership differences there. But, yeah, definitely interesting slate all the way around, I think, Nate. I mean, there really isn't anybody, the masses aren't getting corralled all the same way. I think there's so many different paths everybody's going to take today. It's kind of an interesting one for me.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I don't really think ownership matters on the slate, to be honest. In general. So play who you like and go with it that way. Right. So, in terms of hitting, I think there's a lot of offenses on this slate. There's nothing really glaring, which is what I like, right? Because typically I'm more of a contrarian player. Like Coors Field slates I hate, like when the Dodgers or something, right, or just massive chalk, things like that, right? You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't kind of thing. Not the case on this slate. So but it's pretty interesting in terms of hitters here in general. First game, we're up in Toronto here. Savage on the mound, Peyton Toll, two arms we had interest in here. Savage, maybe he's not right. Blue Jays bullpen is second best in baseball. So that's enough to really take me off the Red Sox. I know Wombat, if you're watching out there, I know he's going to be stacking up his hometown boys here. He thinks the Red Sox, since they fired everyone, are the best team in baseball now. So we'll see what happens there. I will say Willie Abreu is absolutely on fire right now. I think he's a great play. Marcelo Mayer, 2,700 at second base, which is a weak position. You can play some one-offs or some value guys here, I think, for the Red Sox against the Savage, but really not super interested there. Not a ton of interest either on the Blue Jay side, but again, they are a contact-heavy team going up against a younger arm here. I mean, Vlad Okamoto, fine, but for offense, I don't really like stacking either side of this game. But what do you see here?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm just I'm not there yet. I mean, you're sitting here at a game total 7.5. I mean, it's kind of hard to be excited about stacking any team in a game total 7.5. But I mean, if you wanted to, I guess you could go after your Savage if the shoulder gets messed up and they bring in an early reliever. That might be something that could be considered. But I'm not a fan of it. Red Sox did score 17 runs the other day, but I mean, they still haven't done really much of shit anyway. So, yeah, I'll just pass.
Yeah, Blue Jays bullpen is really good too. Like I said, Boston's bullpen kind of middle of the road, 17th in terms of xFIP. So not the best spot for offense. There's plenty of spots on the slate. If they get there, they get there. You can leave a couple of those bats, like I talked about, in your pool, but nothing crazy in terms of stacks on either side for me. Next game, though, I do have a lot of interest here. Talk about a bad offense. The Mets have been absolutely atrocious. However, Zach Littell's been equally or not worse. And then you got the Nats bullpen, which is just dog shit. 4th worst in baseball. xFIP off the charts. I mean, ERA off the charts. They're just not good. Flat out not good. Mets at home here, not the best hitting park in general, but we don't really have good parks outside of Sacramento on the slate or good weather really anywhere. So that's why indoors and Sacramento are going to be kind of the main spots. But I'm going in on a bad bullpen. A bad starter, in my opinion, in Zach Littell. I think the Mets are really interesting. Don't really have individual players that I really want to kind of pick out and pinpoint outside of a Juan Soto, but this is just to stack it up against a pitcher who's not been great to start the year and not a good bullpen. So I'm in on the Mets stack here. Pretty low ownership. Again, that's going to be the theme across the slate. Really, no teams are going to be glaring. I mean, you're going to see a lot of teams in that 50 to 65, 70% combined ownership range, which is 40 to 50% less than some of the other slates that we've talked about, Gyiraszin, with like the Dodgers and Coors Field and stuff when you're talking 120, 130 combined ownership. So I think the Mets are pretty interesting here. What do you see?
I see Zach Little's been rolling those red kickballs up to the plate here to lefties this whole season. I mean, geez, Pete's, 502 WOBA has been giving up home runs left and right. I mean, this guy just isn't getting any of these lefties out. But, man, it's like me playing the Mets would be like goes totally against everything I always say that is wrong in DFS because they suck as a team. They're the worst hitting team in baseball. OPS, they're like 30 points lower than the next one. They are terrible. So it's like, rewinding the clock last year, and I used to bitch about playing the Royals all the time because they couldn't hit their way out of a paper bag. But, man, it's so hard to do it. But, I mean, I guess maybe if you want, like Juan Soto, like you mentioned, he's a decent one-off. If you want to go there, I mean, I got no interest in really these other lefties, Menendez, Batty. I mean, no thanks. I'm not there. I can't. Even though the Nationals, they do suck, I'm going to save that ass kicking for another day because I just don't think the Mets are the team that are going to – they'll probably go out and score 10 runs today because I'm ranting on them right now. But Nades, I mean, man, they've just been so bad. It's just so hard to do it. I think they're just deflated already, man. They're ready. They're already ready to go home and go golfing for the year, those boys over there, I think. So I just can't do it, man. It is a good spot. I just wish it didn't say Mets on their team.
Yeah, I just see all the blood red on Littell's numbers against lefties, against both sides, really, but against lefties for sure.
It's like purple.
Nat's bullpen is ass.
It's
really bad. If the Mets can't hit this dude, especially the lefties, I mean,
right,
sail them off into the sunset and tell them to take their third highest payroll in baseball or second highest, whatever it is now, and go hit the golf course and see if they can do better there, whacking balls and hitting shanks left and right. I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna pay to find out. I like the Mets lefties. I mean, I think the back half too is interesting. Beatty, Bench, you got a Stone minimum guy when we want to spend up at pitching. Soto, Alvarez, I mean, Melendez has actually been probably their best hitter on the season, which what does that tell you on the Mets offense there? But yeah, I'm going to pay to find out. I think they're interesting. I saw that. I saw that. But yeah, I'm going to definitely have exposure to the Mets, and I'll go down with the ship, I guess, like the rest of us. But I will say on the national side, James Wood, CJ Abrams, Dalen Lyle, always in play. Clay Holmes, nothing crazy special. Mets bullpen, decent, but James Wood's been on fire. CJ Abrams, Dalen Lyle, all three of those guys been really good and have tons of upside in tournaments. Next game, your Detroit Tigers heading out to Atlanta. Martin Perez in our lives for Atlanta. Casey Mize, good pitcher, going up against a tall task here. Braves been best team in baseball so far throughout the short term here. This many games in, fairly decent spot here for hitting on both sides here. I think definitely leading the Tigers side. The issue is just Tigers against left-handed pitching you don't love. Torkelson's been out of this mind out of the world right now. I know you're probably holding on to some rookie cards over there. Hao-Yu Lee, Stone minimum, third base, which is a weak position. I think he's really interesting if you're not spending up for a guy like Max Muncy. Kevin McGonigal, don't worry about the lefties here. Issue I do have, though, is the Braves bullpen is really good. But the Tigers, Tigers are pretty interesting here. They're super cheap. They're affordable. What do you see here? Detroit, Atlanta.
Yeah, Mize has been pretty good where he hasn't really been getting blown up. I mean, he hasn't been the greatest in his past against righties. I mean, I guess if I was looking for somebody, maybe Acuna at the top of that line, he's so cheap on FanDuel. You see Ronald Acuna 3,200. It's like, is this his brother or something? They got mispriced over here. Like, it doesn't even seem right. But yeah, I think Acuna would be interesting. And when you bounce over to the Tigers, I mean, you look at Martin Perez. He's, so far this year, he hasn't really been striking out all the way 15% to both sides of the plate. He's been getting smacked around a little bit by some lefties. He's got a 370 WOBA. Hasn't really been getting any kind of whiffs over there. Has been getting barreled up a little bit by lefties. And I'll tell you, Kevin McGonigal isn't going to miss too many pitches this year. I mean, that dude's got one hell of an eye up there at the plate. I mean, he just seems to see the pitches so well. I think the Tigers are a sneaky stack. I don't have them like ranked up really high, but McGonigal and Riley both do hit lefties fairly decent, but Riley's been actually hitting them better this year. They're actually talking about one of the broadcasts. Dylan Dingler's another guy in Torkelson. I don't mind. I mean, you could literally go 3, 5, 6, 7 and have a fairly reasonably cheap stack. I mean, Jemani Jones up at the top of the lineup, I could see definitely getting pinch hit for if, once the lefty gets out of there with Perez. So I think that's a little bit of a pinch hit risk there. So is Matt Vierling sitting there in the 4 hole. But yeah, I think it's interesting. I mean, Kevin McGonigal is good. I mean, Nades, I got the rookie cards of Torque I had to, kind of get rid of. And, I got my next run here to go to the get graded. And I got my Ohtani rookie cards. And then I got all my McGonigals going right here. They're getting ready to go, Nades. All the McGonigals are going to the grader because that boy, I might have to sell me a few of those so I can go get me some more. But, yeah, I think Tigers are in play here. But, I mean, he's one of them rookies we were talking about, top 3. But, yeah, I like that kid.
Yeah, I mean, Jemai Jones and Vierling are severe pinch hit risk. I mean, you're probably looking at 2 at-bats for both of those guys. Could they hit a home run? Yeah. I don't really care when they're 2,300 and 2,500. I wouldn't probably play them both together. I would probably limit one of those guys in Tiger stacks if you're stacking up the Tigers, just because you don't want 3 or 2 of your 5 hitters to get 2 at-bats each, right? When you could have 5 at-bats from the rest of your guys being on the road here. So, yeah, Tigers, we see it pretty eye to eye. Ronald Acuna is great play. Baldwin's been mashing, but I really don't want to stack against Casey Mize, even as good as the Braves offense is. They can be in your pool because, again, they have tons of power and upside all the way through. Michael Harris has been actually on fire. He'd probably be my favorite play at 3,400 just because he's a salary lefty. He can steal bases as well, has actually shown some power upside as well, too. And then that price point on Austin Riley is super cheap, too, but definitely prefer the Tiger side in terms of stacks overall. Next game on the slate, Angels, White Sox. There was a 75-hour delay yesterday. Finally got the game played, 15 runs, which makes sense anytime teams are going up against both of these. And then when you pair them together, right, you play our two shitholes together, you get a lot of fireworks, right? Both these bullpens are ass. You could see runs here again, but two of the better arms that we've seen, if the runs happen, in my opinion, it's going to come from the bullpen, which easily could happen, and you can get there that way. But from a stacking perspective, don't really like this spot from stacking. We both had, this is probably my number one and number two pitcher, all things considered, on the slate, looking at it in Soriano and Davis Martin. Murakami, I will call out just because the dude's been mashing. 5,600 is a steep price point to play. He's going to be unowned against probably the chalkiest pitcher on the slate. So if you wanted to leverage in tournaments, the White Sox fit that script, but not something I really like outside of deep MME, 150s type stuff. What do you see here, though?
Yeah, I like both sides, both arms, as you mentioned. I guess depending on the site, I think you might get a little bit of leverage if you play against if you played against Davis. If you wanted to look at that route, that isn't bad because there is a lot of potential for some power over there with the Angels. Angels are seventh in all baseball OPS. We know they can hit the ball hard. Davis Martin is pitching over his head a little bit so far this year, like we mentioned a little bit earlier. His strikeouts are up a little bit, but if you wanted to go there, but we're looking at a game with a 7.5. If I'm playing 3 to 5 teams, I'm not even considering going to any of these spots here. But Murakami, man, where's this guy coming from? It's just good to see baseball needs. It seems like every year, we get a couple of these kids that are coming up that are really good that just keep adding to the talent pool of baseball. And if you ask me, baseball has more young, good talent that's come through the pipes in the last 5 years than any sport, and it's not even close. But
yeah, it's not. It's not close, and I know that obviously with the Brewers, right, having one of the best farm systems in baseball right now, if not the best. And their young kids haven't even really hit the show yet. Super excited to see. Yeah, super excited to see that. But we are seeing guys like Price Terang who came in, Garrett Mitchell, Frey, like these young guys come in and be studs already too. So yeah, baseball is great in terms of that. But yeah, there's power on both sides of that game. Both bad bullpens, so it could get there late in stacks. So I wouldn't fully cross them off, but again, not a main team, single entry 3 max. I'm not really getting to either side of that game too much. However, next game, one of my favorite games on the slates, my Milwaukee Brewers, Diamondbacks coming to town. Merrill Kelly looks broken, especially against lefties. Brewers will run for sure. I like both sides of this game. I lean the Brewers side, but Diamondbacks are pretty interesting as well. Chad Patrick was great last year. Has not been good this year. Vargas has been on a tear. This dude is actually hitting for power. He's always a contact bat, but now he's got some power. Don't expect that to last too long, but Vargas, Marte, Carroll up at the top. Del Castillo, you get a cheap catcher lefty there. And then you got Alec Thomas at the back half. I always love Alec Thomas in my Diamondback stacks. They're going to be unowned. Brewers bullpen, middle of the road in general. Good place to hit, above average park, right? It's obviously indoors. But I love the Brewers side of this game too for tournaments here. I just don't think Merrill Kelly's right. Got shellacked his last start. Arizona bullpen not great behind him. I love offense in this one. What do you see here?
Yeah, I love me some offense in this game too. The only difference that really stands out is the Brewers bullpen's way better than Arizona's. But just looking at Chad Patrick, I think he's broke too. Dude's at 15% K rate of righties, 8%. On lefties. He's given up a ton of fly balls. He did give up some fly balls last year, but I think this Arizona offense is in a really good spot here today. I really like them. Corbin Carroll's in a good spot. Marte, Vargas. The dude's been hitting out of this world so far this year. So I think he's in play. But if I had to pick one or two, I think I would probably lean the Brewers just because the D-backs or that bullpen just isn't all that good. Terang, I think, is in a good spot. Mitchell, Bowers, all these guys on the left side, I think, are in pretty good spots. Just too bad. It just looks funny not seeing Yelich in the middle of that lineup for me. But, Merrill Kelly has just not been good. He's been walking all kinds of guys. I mean, when you're in the teen walk rate, Nades, and you're walking, more dudes and you're striking out, it's just not good. It's just
not good against a team that is very patient at the plate, right? You look at the Brewers as a team, they got a 12% walk rate against right-handed pitching on the year as a team. And you got two guys, Jake Bauers and Tyler Black, who don't take any walks, right? But the whole rest of this team are all 10% or higher. You got Bryce Terang has one of the best eyes in baseball, right? The dude's at an 18% walk rate on the year against right-handed pitching. And if you do that, they're going to swipe bags left and right. And then, you're going to have to come back over the heart of the plate. Yeah, on paper, the roster doesn't look great with Yelich out of there when you got guys like David Hamilton and Brendan Lockridge and, Tyler Black and those guys. But, again, this team scores runs. They don't have the name recognition. I'm in on it. So they're going to be unowned as well, which I like. Bad bullpen. I don't think Merrill Kelly's good. Patient offense at the plate. I love both sides of this game. Definitely lean the Brewers, but don't sleep on the Diamondback side either. I like the lefties for sure, especially that wraparound stack. Arenado, Thomas, Vargas, Marte, Carroll. Really, really good 5-man stack right there that's going to be unowned. Should see a lot of at-bats. They have power. They have stolen base upside as well. I'm in on probably my favorite game.
Sounds like a first 5 bet over first 5 innings.
It could. If both the pitchers pitch how they have been, I don't see how this game doesn't produce runs, to be honest. So, yeah, we're in lockstep there. I love that game on both sides. Next game on the slate up in Minnesota, Joe Ryan, Logan Gilbert, two of the better arms on the slate. Mariners, I think, would be my preferred side if going to one. I know the Twins, I was on them heavy yesterday on the show. Loved them. Late, pulled the plug on them and got, I had like 45% exposure to Twin stacks and to pre-lip, and I cut that down to like 5% because of the weather, and I got scared. I was just a chicken. Should have just rolled the dice and went with it, but I think it's a different spot here tonight. Mariners, though, the lefties can get to Joe Ryan. I side more on Joe Ryan just at the ownership. I don't think he gets played much. I don't think Gilbert gets played a ton compared to the other guys around them. So I lean pitching over hitting in this one, but Mariners are fairly interesting. They're cheap. They have power. Even with the strikeouts that they present, they do have power. Guys like Dominic Canzone, Cal Raleigh, who's finally back. Luke Rayleigh has some power. It's more mini stacks than full stacks here, but that Twins bullpen, not good either. 8th worst in baseball on the season. This game could produce runs if it got there, but I lean pitching over hitting.
Yeah, it's going to be like 50 degrees there in Minnesota. It's going to be kind of chilly. Joe Ryan's been giving up a lot of fly balls throughout his career, 35%er. I guess somebody like Kyle Riley, who's got a 45% fly ball rate, I think that'd be interesting if I was looking for a one-off guy. I think that would be somebody. Even to throw in my home run parlay is, the big dumper, I think, is a guy that I'd look at. But other than that, it ain't really any reason to push it. If I had to pick a side, I'd choose the Mariner side just because of the fly balls of Joe Ryan. But, we're sitting looking at another game with 7.5, and it's just no reason to pick on it.
I'm with you there. Takes us to Globe Life. Roof's going to be closed out there in Texas. Jacob deGrom, Cam Schlittler, two of the better arms on the slate as well. Yankees have upside anytime they're on the slate. Not a spot I don't want to pick on Jacob deGrom. He's looked elite. He looks like the old deGrom after all the injuries. He's been really good to start the year here. Could the Yankees lefties get to him? Yeah. Ben Rice is on a tear right now. Grisham, Jazz, who's on fire too. Jason Dominguez adds another power lefty in there. I side more with pitching as well in this one here. Yankees never really X them out of your pool because they can win any slate just with the upside that they have. But Texas bullpen's good. Yankees bullpen's good. Both these starting pitchers are good. Not really a spot I like for hitting here. What do you see?
Yeah, it's tough with these two guys on the mound, as you mentioned, but it is still the Yankees. Are they in the world yet with the Dodgers where, it's not, you should almost play them at any point in time? I mean, they may be close to getting to that point, but DeGrom is really good. I mean, he's just been lights out. I think he's given up more than one run only once in his 5 or 6 starts so far this year. So, yeah, I mean, it's just hard. It's just hard to go up against such a good pitcher, quality pitcher like Jacob DeGrom. But, I don't think you get enough reward for the leverage either. Like if DeGrom was going to be like a 50%er or something today, Nades, I'd feel a little bit better about taking a shot at doing something like that, but not with the pitching spread out as it is. It just feels like you're just kind of pissing in the wind.
Yeah, I agree. It's not like DeGrom's going to be like 60% owned or something, right? Where you get super massive leverage or anything like that. Same thing on the Schiller side. So yeah, it's definitely pitching over hitting there for me. Takes us to the game that went kind of crazy. Definitely needed it in the night slate yesterday. Didn't really matter too much for the main slate, but night slate it certainly did. This game produced a ton of runs last night in a shitty ballpark. Edward Cabrera, Walker Buehler. Cubs are fairly interesting here to me. It's not even a chase. I get the Padres bullpen's really good. However, Mason Miller did throw 21 pitches yesterday. That's 34 pitches in 3 days. Jason Adam threw 17. Morjon threw 27. So those 3 guys are probably unavailable, which does help the case a little bit. If the Cubs can jump on Walker Buehler, I just don't think Walker Buehler is great. Michael Busch, I think is solid. Sia Suzuki, Ballesteros, PCA. Nobody's going to play $4,700 for PCA hitting in the back half of that order. I think the Cubs are fairly interesting here. I hate the ballpark. Padres bullpen's good, but I think the Cubs do have upside here. In general, Padres been decent. Cabrera, good arm, or not a good arm, but a solid arm. He's a better pitcher, in my opinion, than Walker Buehler is at this current state. But what do you see here? Padres, Cubs. I think this game's fairly interesting from a hitting perspective that I think flies under the radar.
Yeah, when I was kind of looking at it, I think I kind of have the Cubs in the same kind of range I had the Tigers in, right? Like I think it's got some potential and upside. It just isn't, cracking the top of my list there. But I mean, Buehler is a guy we've been attacking. I mean, he's not been all that good. He does have a mid-ground ball lean. It is better to go after him with some lefties. Well, as we said, we got some Bush. We like Bush, as we know. So, and Ian Happ, he's another one that definitely could be in play. I mean, this Cubs lineup up and down is not bad at all. You did mention the bullpen for the Padres is a red flag there, but I do have them outside my top 5. Maybe they can get to Buehler 5 or 6 runs kind of early. I mean, I could see it, but I don't really love the park either. But yeah, if I'm doing maybe 20 teams, I'd probably leave some Cubbies in there. But if you're asking me about getting into my 3 to 5 teams, they wouldn't get there.
Yeah, I think the Cubs are a little more interested, and probably not a 3 to 5 team. I'll probably have one in like my main couple that I'm throwing in like tournaments, but in 20 max, I'm definitely going to have a decent amount of Cubs just because I think they're going to go unowned. They have an upside. Ballesteros has actually been hitting, and like I said, I mean, some of the better Padres arms are probably unavailable in this spot after last night's game, so that does help the case there. And I mean, even in this ballpark, it's still a decent total. The Cubs are still implied over four runs, right? Even against the Padres in that park and that bullpen. So yeah, I'm fairly interested on the Cubs side. Takes us to your favorite team in DFS, the Kansas City Royals, as probably when it's all said and done, the most popular stack on the slate because of the ballpark and Aaron Savali on the other side. The A's bullpen's not good either. Royals, you want lefties against Savali, but I mean, he's not really great against either side. And I mean, you got 2 of the better righty hitters for sure. I mean, 3 solid righties in general, and Perez, Bobby Witt, and Garcia, who can get to anyone, especially Bobby Witt. Talk to me here. West Sacramento, best hitting park, best hitting environment on the slate. It's going to be like 70 degrees out there. Bubic, not invincible by any means. So the A's in tournaments, getting Brent Rooker back does help. Shea Langeliers, Jacob Wilson has not been the same Jacob Wilson as last year, but these guys can get to lefties. If the good Bubic shows up, it's going to be tough sledding. If the bad Bubic shows up like he has been the last couple, the A's can get there in tournaments. This game is offense for me more so than pitching. But what do you see here?
Yeah, I agree with you on the A's. I actually like the A's side surprise more than the Royals because I mean Bubik's just has been bad his last couple starts. I mean, he's been actually really bad. 10 innings, he's given up 10 earned runs or something like that, 8 earned runs. So I mean, he's definitely be of concern. His problem is he's just been walking a lot of guys. So if he can't keep, I mean, he's been walking righties at a 13% rate, which is pretty high. I think that's of a concern. He's been giving up some fly balls. Even the left side, he's up at 46%, but almost 30% even to the right side. So I think that is something of concern for Bubik. But as I said earlier, when I was talking about him as far as a guy, I mean, he's got definitely plenty of strikeouts to be had in this A's lineup. But I mean, there's also some power over there. I mean, Langelier smashes left. He's got 427 WOBA. Rooker's another guy. Wilson isn't going to strike out very much. You got Thomas. So I don't mind it. I think I would maybe like mini them with the, maybe like Langoliers and Rooker. I think that's something maybe if you wanted to look at. You're not getting all that much leverage on it. But, I mean, Bubik's just been bad. So we like the park. There's a lot of other things that line up. So I think you definitely kind of got to leave them in. As far as the Royals go, it's kind of hard for me to want to stack up the Royals when I look at their lineup. And Bobby Witt's, which we'd all agree is their best hitter, and he just hit his first damn home run yesterday. So it's just like, man, I just like if I feel like are the Royals a team that can hit me 4 or 5 homers today, it's just the likelihood of that to me is just not there. So I think I'm gonna pass on them today, even though they do have the highest team total. But they're more like they're not a DFS team, Nade's offense to me. They're like a small ball type offense, and the Optos pick them up because they got the highest run total and shit. It's just like, man, are they going to go back to like if you're asking me who's going to go back to back, maybe at 3 homers in an inning or 2. I mean, it's easy to roll out some of the teams, the Yankees and the Dodgers and the Royals ain't going to be even in that conversation for me. So again, if it beats me, it beats me. But I think the right side of the A's lineup to me would stand out the most for me against Bubik just because he hasn't been very good recent times.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that the strikeouts can't come, it's the walks. But the issue here is, I mean, the A's are just not a patient offense, right? That's why you like targeting starting pitching against them, especially against left-handed pitching. I mean, 9% walk rates. I mean, and that's Nick Kurtz and Max Muncy heavily, but the rest of these guys are all like 5% or lower. They do have power, obviously Langoliers. Hernandez, right? What would be the and Rooker, right? Are the main guys against lefties you want. The Royals, I do have a little more interest than you do. I know you hate the Royals. They've won me a lot of money last year. Even every time we were on the show, right? You always hated them. And they won me a lot of money last year. Carter Jensen, I think, is a really solid play on the slate. Yeah, he strikes out, but the dude hits for tons of power. Michael Massey, dirt cheap, second base, terrible position. Vinny P, I think is interesting. You want the lefties in particular there, and then obviously you can always play Bobby Witt in that. But I am slightly concerned with the ownership there. Just when I like the pitchers in general. So Royals on my board, but not my favorite stack by any means. And then on the A's, it would be Langoliers, Rooker, Hernandez. I think is interesting too. 2,600. Power guy, second base, third base, both weak positions. I think he's an interesting salary saver that not many people get to. But yeah, Bubich isn't going to get really any ownership either, so it's not like you're leveraging a higher owned arm on the slate or anything like that. Last game, Dodgers, Marlins. Jansen Junk, not actually a terrible arm, but any arm going up against the Dodgers always has the opportunity to get shellacked. Miami bullpen, 10th worst in baseball, not good. Dodgers underwhelmed last night. Highest team total on the board, but ownership-wise, I mean, teams like the Royals are going to be higher owned because of the salaries, right? You want spend-up pitching. Dodgers are expensive. Dodgers are a stack anytime they're on the slate, right? Yankees are kind of getting in that category here. The issue for me is Junk just doesn't really get blown up. I mean, could they hit a bunch of home runs? Yeah. It's just, I don't know. What do you see here? Dodgers, Marlins to round us out. On paper, Dodgers should be the best stack on the board. Does it come to fruition? We'll see, but you got to pay to find out. Max Muncy would be my favorite bat overall. Dalton Rushing, if he's back in there, I think he's a great, and that's a really good two-man. Muncy, Rushing, all great. But what do you see here, Dodgers, Marlins to round out the slate?
Yeah, I think the Dodgers are really interesting, even though we don't get Shohei, obviously, in the lineup here tonight. But, I mean, the lefties are against Junk are interesting. Junk does have a mid-ground balling, but, man, I've said it before, like pretty much most of the Dodgers hit the ball in the air at a above average rate. So rushing's at like 37%, Will Smith 37, Muncy 41. So I think, it's definitely in play. I don't mind the hitting weather out there in LA. I think, the Marlins bullpen's about average, something like that. But the Dodgers definitely stand out. So for me, the lefties are what I'm looking at. But yeah, I mean, if they're going to be lower owned and I'm playing more teams, I think I would probably go overweight on the Dodgers is probably the stance of that I would take. But yeah, for me, the Dodgers stand out. But I mean, it is fairly easy. I mean, we know we got to pay up for pitching. So, I mean, you want to pay up for some of them Dodger bats. Obviously, you're going to start looking at, Davis's and, all those guys also that we spoke about that are a little bit cheaper on DK. But, yeah, interesting slate. I mean, we got a Dodgers on a 10-game slate. No teams over team total 5, I believe, either. We got a lot of 7.5 games. So I think pitching is kind of the focus here today. But yeah, I think I mean it's a good Tuesday, so let's win us some money. I mean, there ought to be money head up there on Tuesday nights.
Yeah, tons of money on both sides here. I think we broke it down the best we could. Pretty tricky slate in general, but I think we do have some avenues to attack. At least we hope so, right? It's based on what we kind of just talked through. Gyiraszin, your favorite pitching combination, your top stack, and a sneakier stack, and a home run call if you have one.
Oh, I'd probably go Soriano. And if you're talking DK, I'd probably go Soriano. And then maybe DeGrom or Schlittler. I think I'd go. I mean, all those guys, you can't go wrong with any of the top 5 over there. As far as stacks go, I think I'm going to end up having the Dodgers 1. Man, I really like the D-backs today. I think I'd probably go Dodgers, D-backs, Brewers, and man, we probably put the combination with the Tigers, and maybe throw in some. Maybe we could throw in some Cubbies too. I think are all about the same boat, but. Man, I mean, the Mets and Royals do grade out pretty high today. If it didn't say Mets with the lefty matchup they have, I would really like that spot. I can't play the Mets, man. Them guys just can't hit for shit. As far as a home run call, I already mentioned the big dumper today. So I think the big dumper would be a guy that I'd be looking at. And then I'm going to go with Max Muncy. So Muncy and the big dumper, are my 2 guys that are going to hit some bombs tonight.
Awesome. Love it. I'm going to go Soriano, and I'll go Joe Ryan as a kind of a sneakier guy. I don't think really – I think he gets lost in the shuffle. He could have given up some home runs there, but the weather's favorable for pitching up there. I think Joe Ryan's pretty interesting at 8,200 as kind of a lower owned guy. Obviously, I like all the arms above 8K, but just picking kind of 2. Soriano, by far my favorite pitcher. And then I'll go Joe Ryan, and Davis Martin would be obviously my favorite salary saver on the slate, who's going to be pretty low owned on this slate as well. Offense, I'm going to go Brewers, Dodgers, and then I have more interest in the Mets, but than you do. I'll say the Mets, but I also like the D-backs quite a bit as well. And then the Cubs would be kind of the other team I'm looking at here that's pretty low owned. In terms of a home run call here, I'm going to go to one of my favorite stacks on the board. I'm going to go to Jake Bauers. Dude's been hitting well this season. Back at home here against a pitcher who's susceptible to lefties. Give me some Jake Bauers at a nice price point there. So I like Jake Bauers. That's going to do it. Appreciate everyone tuning in. If you're not a member yet, shipitnation.com. Click Join the Nation right here on the screen. Trial, 5 days, all access. You see everything up there, $19. But more importantly, single sport, baseball, heart of the summer, all season long, leading up to NFL. We got you covered every single day. All of our tools, like the Stone, like our hitter rankings, like our pitcher rankings, our stack rankings. We have a new bullpen stuff getting added as well. $49 a month. optimizer, everything we have to offer. We did not have single sport packages last year, so now's the time. Get in, join the nation. Winners across the board. For Gyiraszin, I'm Nades. Good luck tonight in those contests. We hope to see those Shipping Nation logos at the top. We're out here.